think we can start.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible? Sabri, can you confirm, is my screen visible?
Yes, Hari, it is. Thank you very much. And good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi, semua. So we welcome you for this webinar organized by Compliance in partnership with MDEC. So this webinar is about simplifying e-invoices for Malaysian business and expert guidance from MDEC and tax professionals. Can we move to the next slide, please, Hari? Yeah. So this is going to be the agenda for the day. So we are going to have some opening remarks and what's in for tax and tax claims, e-invoicing for business digitalizations, and learn it from phase 1 and phase 2, readiness for SMEs. And we have a solution demo specially prepared for all of you to see how e-invoicing works. And we are going to have some of our customer experience sharing in a slide, and then we will open up for discussions and Q&A. And I'm very happy to share today's speakers. We have very esteemed professionals here joining us today to talk about webinar, and I'll be a host for the day. My name is Sabrina Jyoti, and I'm Director for Compliance Malaysia. And we have Mr. Song here from MDEC. He's e-invoicing senior advisor, and we have Ms. Puarni here with us joining. She's a professional tax advisor for a lot of firms here in Malaysia, a very well-known figure here in Malaysia. And we have our customers from SMK who will be joining and sharing later. And we have Hari here with us. Hari is the co-founder and CEO of Compliance. And we have Mr. Jeevan joining us today. Jeevan also will be sharing, and he's the Director for Compliance Malaysia. So this is all about us and our journey so far. Compliance actually has presence all over the world. We are right now there in the USA, Saudi Arabia, India, and Malaysia. And I'm not sure many of you are aware, Saudi Arabia already has gone live for e-invoicing in multiple phases. And we have been helping a lot of companies there, taking them live in Saudi Arabia. And we work with all these authorities, governing authorities across the globe in their e-invoicing processes. And what we do is we have a very expert team of e-invoicing, and we are trusted by authorities worldwide. We have accreditations from various countries, from various government authorities who have trusted that we can deliver this. And we serve enterprises globally. And we do on-time compliance. Yeah. So with this, I would like to introduce Hari, our CEO and co-founder, to take us all through the next journey. Thank you, Hari. Over to you.
Thank you, Sabri, for the warm intro. First of all, I want to welcome everyone who've just taken time to join this webinar. I hope this webinar is going to be very informative, right? So to start off with e-invoicing, most of us understand e-invoicing as the conversion of paper process or paper bound process into a digitalized process. So that is true. That is the one aspect of e-invoicing. There is another aspect for e-invoicing where you also comply in terms of tax with respect to the tax authority. Here in Malaysia, we all businesses, or as a business, you are obliged to comply with the tax related compliance with LHDN. So, and apart from that, e-invoicing is also going to protect the manual processes where, I mean, where you usually do the paper-bound invoicing, we are prone to errors. It takes time, especially for the accounts team, to reconcile all the payable invoices into the accounting system or the ERP system. With e-invoicing, the complete flow is going to be digitalized, and especially with PayPal, so we are going to have a complete digitalized flow, whether it is with respect to AR or AP. So that's what is e-invoicing. And moving on to the next part. So here in Malaysia, we have IRBM mandated e-invoicing. As you may have, aware of the phases of the implementation. We have three phases. The first phase is already live by companies had turnover more than 100 million and 100 million ringgits went live with first phase of 1st August. And then we have the second phase, live date is around 1st January 2025. So companies having turnover more than 25 million up to 100 million will be falling under this phase. And also we have the third phase next year, July 2025, where companies having revenue more than 150,000 ringgits up to 25 million will be obliged to go live. And so e-invoicing is not just in Malaysia. E-invoicing has been implemented by 100 over countries across the globe for different types of transactions. Predominantly, e-invoicing was introduced for the B2G transactions, means business to vendors who are working with the governments. That's how it was started. Slowly, it gained traction for B2B, and even governments are keen for introducing e-invoicing for B2C transactions. So there are several countries that has implemented e-invoicing for all these transactions. So at compliance, we are catering to businesses to provide solutions to ensure businesses are compliant with all these invoicing regulations, especially the companies having operations across the globe, wherever they want to comply locally to the local regulations, we are helping them out. So, so that's it from my side. We have Ms. Pony Rajagopal, the tax advisor, to walk you all through the next part, the budget recap and the tax and tax related claims for e-invoicing. Over to you, Ms. Pony.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me. But just before I start, should I leave my camera on or off?
You can leave it on, Ms. Pony.
You should, yeah.
Okay, let me switch it on. Okay, hi everyone, thank you for joining today morning and thank you for having me. Thank you, Hari, for the introduction earlier. So I'm going to do a quick recap on the implementation costs that you will incur for e-invoicing. One, you will be incurring staff costs. Number two, you will be incurring costs in enhancing your assets like software and hardware in your IT system, right? So for the cost that you incur for in 2025, there are two things here, right? 50,000 ringgit, you can get tax deduction for all the costs that you incur in respect of recruitment, staff, and everything in respect of e-invoicing. That is your revenue cost, right? Number two, if you spend money to enhance your IT system in terms of software and hardware, you also get to claim capital allowances. Now, the capital allowances previously was 20% and 20%, but for the first year from budget 2025, they've announced for e-invoicing purpose, any IT cost that you incur, you can claim capital allowances in full in 2 years. That means you get 60% of claim. For example, I'll give you by an example. You spend 100,000 ringgit in 2025 for IT purpose, right? To enhance your accounting software, your middleware, and everything. You'll get up to 60,000 deduction against your taxable income in 2025 itself. You have spent 100,000, you will get 60,000 tax capital allowances deduction. The following year, 2026, you will get to claim the 40% in the 40% of 100,000 in 2026. That means you get to claim 40,000 ringgit. You get to that means at the end, the conclusion is you get to claim this 100,000 in 2 years time instead of 5 years as usual. Okay, so you have 50,000 for all the expenses that you incur. Number 2, capital allowances on all the assets expenses that you incur for e-invoicing. These will apply from year 2024 to 2027 because that's when I think we anticipate the e-invoicing to be fully implemented by 2027. Next slide, please. Okay, one of the reason LHDN is also looking at e-invoicing is to cover a lot more taxpayers. Right now, we know we have 32 million people. There are only about 2.3 million people who actually pay taxes. So this will help LHDN to generate revenue for the Malaysian government by having all the income recorded at their side as well, right? So there are two things here. One, if you are a small business, you will access My Invoice portal directly, but that also will take time, and you need to look at your errors that means your staff has to be really good in doing the e-invoice in My Invoice portal. The other way is using a middleware like how we have here. Next slide. So at the end of the day, I think what IRB is also looking at, when you report your P&L, your audited accounts, your P&L in your tax returns, they will then compare on all the e-invoice that you have reported. So it's more like a matching concept. Whether you have all your P&L, your audited P&L, corresponds with all the information that they have. And that is one of the risk management step that you need to take as well. So when you look at your audited report, how do you audit yourself so that whatever information that you have reported with LHDN is similar? It has to be similar, right? This is what I was talking about: simplified audit processes, proactive error detection, and improved financial insights. Then the IRB will know what is, for example, now when they
please. Yeah. Okay. Just now the slide, sorry. So before I start, just about who is MDEC. MDEC is a government agency under the Ministry of Digital. MDEC was established in the year 1996. Those of you who heard about the MSc status, that's not us. But since then, we have moved on to drive various national digital initiative to drive the Malaysia digital economy forward, and e-invoicing is one of them, right? So most of us here already heard about e-invoicing, and LHDN already published their guidelines and all that. By now, you should know what you need to do. But the question in your mind is, how are you going to do it? You still have this doubt. Okay, I know what I need to do, but how to do it? So I want to share with you what MDEC is doing and how we and the pool of service provider was accredited or certified service provider can help you. LHDN e-invoicing initiative objective is for tax reporting purposes. What MDEC want to achieve is how you can generate the digital invoice, send to LHDN for validations, and also, since you already have the digital copy, forward to your buyers. That way, you can not only, when you just want to send invoice to LHDN for validations, all you're going to have is that increase in cost of doing business because you have to do an extra step. But if you do digitalizations, you have all the benefits of digitalizations, like what just now the previous presenter is talking about reducing error, faster, more efficient processing and all that. So, and in MDEC, we have gotten the government mandate to implement e-invoicing initiative for business digitalization using an international standard called the PAPER framework. So, and what MDEC is doing and LHDN is doing is, even though it's two different ends, one is about digitalization, the other one is tax reporting, but they're complementing. And I will share with you how, when you do digitalization, you also satisfy tax reporting later on down in a few slides. So next slide, please. So very quickly, e-invoicing, everyone know, paper invoice is not e-invoicing, and also PDF. If you send PDF via email, that is also not e-invoicing. E-invoicing is an automated process of generating, sending, and receiving e-invoice in a system-to-system manner. This will cut down the number of steps from roughly about 8 to 9 steps to probably about 4 steps in doing e-invoicing. And you can see with this cutting down of number of steps, the advantage is very obvious, which is overall reduce the cost, shorten the process, and more important, reduce human error. Next slide, please. So I think in order for us to achieve this system-to-system, data transfer, it is important to have a standard for every businesses to comply to. And for Malaysia, we adopt the PAPER framework. So with a PAPER framework, if you are using accounting software like SAP, for example, or SQL, you can send invoice to your buyer who is using another ERP or accounting system. For example, they may be using Oracle, they may use ABSS. So different accounting software can exchange data if they all comply to the same standard. And in MDEC, in Malaysia, we are using PAPER framework. Next slide, please. So, okay, I think you are jumping the slide, but never mind, it's okay. Okay, so I think we can stay with this slide. So, okay. So in this slide, instead, this slide is intended for people who is slightly technical to understand what is actual e-invoicing and using e-invoice via the PAPER network. It involves what we call the four-corner model, right? So seller will create the e-invoice. The seller, in this case, you as a business, you want to send an invoice. So from your accounting software, you generate invoice. That you are the corner one. So the invoice will then forward to corner two. Corner two, we call them the access point. And if the data or e-invoice is already paper framework, compliance, then corner two will just send the invoice to corner three. Otherwise, corner two, in this case, the service provider will help you to convert the data in order to comply to the standards. And this is a very important step because they also check for errors before they forward to the next intended participant or the receiver. In normal case, if without LHDN, they will send to your buyer. But in the case of Malaysia, the corner two will then send this particular invoice to LHDN for validations. So that is an extra step. I will go through in detail in the other slide. So corner two will then forward the invoice to corner three, and so the standard will involve corner two and corner three. So all this jargon you don't have to remember. All you need to do is you as a business, you work with a service provider. Yeah, so that is important. So here are and because of these standards, then the top five benefits for business who implement PayPal e-invoicing for B2B is very obvious. First is increase the business efficiency. So it eliminates any manual data entry, shorten the process and minimize the error, and also improve the traceability. I think all of us here can understand when I say that whenever you as a seller, when you chase for money, your buyer always say that they don't receive your invoice. In the situations of e-invoice, there's no such thing because it's all validated. It's all going through the network, all traceable. So you can always point them, hey, you know, I already sent on this date. You already receive it already in your system. So all these are traceable. So because all these are traceable and also comply to international standard, it will also not only help you to send invoice to your buyer who is local, but also send and receive invoice cross-border. So because we comply to a standard called PayPal, there are more than 20 countries are already using PayPal framework, such as, for example, our neighbor Singapore, Australia, Japan, and also New Zealand. Country who is not using PayPal, your service provider will also can help you to convert the data into their standard as well. So, and last but not least, support tax compliance, because in Malaysia, when we localize or the PayPal standards to the Malaysia requirement, we take into considerations all the tax requirements, all the regulatory requirements of invoicing. So all the field is already built in the PayPal framework. Next slide. So to implement this, what we call the PayPal e-invoicing framework, we need to have an authority, in this case, a PayPal authority. And MDEC is a PayPal authority. So our job is, first, as I mentioned before, we localize the PayPal framework to comply to Malaysian authority requirements. We govern the implementation of PayPal framework. We set up the infrastructure so that what we call the directory. This is very important steps to ensure the network is secure. And also, number 4 is very critical, that is onboard and accredit the service provider. Later on, you see the importance of this in the following slides. So also we manage the e-invoicing participants in the whole country. In the case of some of the people who are not compliant, we will give them warning and we kick them out. So to make sure that the whole framework is secured. Yeah. Next slide. So after we study, by the way, e-invoicing is not new. The world has been implementing e-invoicing more than 20 years ago. They started with Latin America, then the European picked it up for different reasons. Yeah. So we have studied all these countries, how they implement e-invoicing, and now we fully understand the success of e-invoicing is very much depends on one very important parties in the whole ecosystem. That is a service provider. You imagine Malaysia have more than 1 over million businesses. It's almost impossible to it's hard to imagine over 1 million people have direct integrations with what you call that in our authority, tax authority. So we have to rely on what we call the service provider, and we can use via the service provider. We can roll out very fast. There's two types of service provider we're talking here. One, what we call is paper-ready solutions provider. These are the accounting software ERP system that are able to comply to or able to connect to what the access point. At the access point, we call them the PEPOR service provider. The job of this what you call service provider, they pre-check your invoice. So they pre-check if there's no error, they will forward to the next step, meaning is to the LHDN or to the next destination, your buyer. So we ensure the PRSP or the PEPOR-ready solution provider works well with the SP, and the SP can forward to another SP or LHDN. So MDEC is managing all this. Yeah, there are companies who are only PRSP. There are some are SP. I think in this case, Compliance Malaysia is both SP and PRSP. Yeah. So next slide. So far I have not tell you how the two components work together. Yeah, LHDN is doing the tax compliance. Our objective is for digitalization. So both of us work together. MDEC and LHDN, we started the E-Invoicing separately. LHDN, as I mentioned, they do this E-Invoicing for tax reporting, but MDEC for business digitalizations. But in year 2022, we entered into a MOU. Since then, MDEC has been working very closely with LHDN to make sure that the E-Invoicing requirement not only satisfied for tax compliance, but also for business use. Imagine, right, in some country like Latin America, they have to send two invoices, once to the government for validations. Then because the government only need very few data, and this invoice, digital invoice, cannot be used for them to send to their customers or the buyers. Then that means they have a double work. But in Malaysia, if it's through PEPOR framework, you don't have to do so. What will happen is you send only one invoice, your service provider will take care of it, right? So we have done technical sessions with the service provider, making sure all the service provider understand and comply to the requirement and all the things that related to E-Invoicing in Malaysia, what you call that, the service provider will know. Next slide. So this slide is very important for you to understand what you call that, how the two components work together. So what MDEC is promoting and recommending is for businesses to implement E-Invoicing for both purpose, that is for tax reporting as well as digitalizations. If you only do for tax reporting purposes, you don't have any what you call that, you don't have any benefits of digitalizations. You only have increased cost of tax compliance, meaning is you need to do extra step to get your what you call your invoice validated. But of course, by doing so, you also reduce your cost of compliance only. But with digitalizations, the reason is very obvious. If you engage a PEPOR service provider, they will help you to integrate your accounting software or accounting system from corner 1 to corner 2. This is a very first important step. Because after this important step, the rest of it, your service provider will take care for you, right? So they will, all these service provider who we are accredited already, they are very familiar already. So they also have a standard. Later on, probably Compliance Malaysia will also tell you how they're going to do it. They have a very standard approach. So you will not miss out any point. So that is an important part of having a service provider. Not only that, they also will share with you best practices, how other company is doing it, how other country is doing it, how you should do, what you should avoid. These are the things you will quickly get yourself compliance, not only for tax compliance, but also for digitalizations. So that is the first part. They will work together with you. And during the daily operations, whenever your accounting system send an invoice to the service provider, the service provider will first check where for error. For example, hey, your certain data is not there, so they will kick it back to you before they send it to LHDN. So it will save you, ding dong between your system and LHDN system. So what will happen is the service provider will first check for error first. All this, nothing wrong, then only what will happen is they will extract a subset of the data, because not all the data is a compulsory field for LHDN. They will get a subset, they send it to LHDN. And after LHDN return the validation code to them, some of you call that the QR code, so they will embed it for you if you want them to do so, embed it for you in the invoice, and that copy of validated invoice they also help you to forward to corner 3 or your intended what you call your buyer. And if you want to, they also can forward a copy back to you. So all these requirements, all these requests, you can discuss with your service provider. So what happens if your service provider, what happens you are on the PayPal network and your buyer is not in the PayPal network? The service provider will know how to take care of it. They can help you to send to the normal method, generate a PDF and send it to your buyer, because your buyer cannot accept, who's not in the PayPal frame network. They can receive other means, either in digital form, other format, as well as, for example, in email PDF format as well. They can help you to do so. In other words, when more and more businesses come on board to PayPal network, you as a business do not have to do another round of customization or integrations. All you need to do is to put the what we call the PayPal ID into your database, and your what you call service provider know how to take care of it. Next slide. So I spoke a lot about benefits and all that, but this slide is very important for you, because this will help you to decide what to do next. So in order for you to make it, make the decisions to decide which method best suited for you, we have tabulated the cost and benefits comparison between the 3. First of all, if you are only issue very few invoice, very few means less than 10 invoice a month, you can just use My Invoice Portal. Yeah. So because My Invoice Portal pretty much very manual lah. You key in the form and all that. So less than 10, you might as well use My Invoice Portal, which is free by LHDN. But imagine you are only issuing less than 10 invoice a month, but your customers say, hey, I'm already a PayPal frame network. I want you to send to me via PayPal network. I don't want you to send to me via paper. I don't want PDF, because they already digitalized. So beside the requirement from the authority that that you need to comply or don't need to comply, your customer will also play a very important role, which method you're going to use. Yeah, so you like, for example, you may not need to send e-invoice to LHDN just yet, because you are less than 250,000, or you may be less than, you are the rest of the businesses who need to be compliant only in middle of next year. But your customer may want you to do faster. If you don't want to do, your customer will say, hey, you cannot do, I will look for another supplier can do. So sometimes the requirement of your customer, you need to take into considerations, right? So, but in this example, like I say, the tax authority, if you are invoiced, you only send less than 10, you may choose not to do any automations. But if your customer wants you to do so, you might as well do, because then you have to choose the right service provider to help you to do so, right? Next, if you need to send invoice regularly, like most of us, we send invoice like hundreds of invoice or even 20, 30 invoice every month. You really need to have an automated system, so that you can become more productive, more efficient, and error-free. You can choose to do it yourself, so you have a choice now. So you want to do automations, you have the choice. You either do it yourself or you engage a service provider. So do it yourself means you have a good and strong technical team, and that can be a very very taxing task, because as you know, LHDN will come up with a lot of or the authority or your customer will come up with different requirements. And when they have different requirements, your what you call that, this technical team will need to monitor and implement that. So that can be a bit taxing. Unlike if you engage as a PayPal service provider, they will monitor all the changes. They will implement the changes for you without you need to ask, right? So this is the advantage. So if you want to engage a service provider, there's two types of service provider, PayPal ready and not PayPal ready. So non-PayPal ready is your technical solutions. Who will be needing all those technical provider who is not PayPal ready? Those company who have a lot of customization, you need somebody who customize for you. So that is probably you need non-PayPal service provider. PayPal service provider will address the masses. So for example, if you issue invoice and you have a lot of workflow built into it, for example, you are a subsidiary. Before you issue an invoice, you need to send the invoice to your, what you call that, your headquarters for approval. Some headquarters is in Europe or in other countries. So there's a lot of complex workflow. You may want to engage a technical solution just to customize for you. But for most SME, PayPal solution provider is the right what you call choice for you. So PayPal service provider has several advantages. All PayPal solution or service provider are accredited by MDEC. They already know what to do. You don't have to tell them, hey, refer to this, refer to that, because they already know what to do. They have proven to MDEC they can connect to the service provider, actually connect to LHDN to send and receive the validation code. So all this we already checked. They also comply to the security standard that the PayPal network put on them. So all this, and the advantage is the PayPal service provider can also help you to share the best practices, as I mentioned earlier. So you don't have to go through all the learning curve. They already tell you what to do. So when it comes to additional benefits, going through the PayPal network will enable you to recover your investment from the benefits of digitalizations. Like I say, if you only do it for tax compliance, you have additional cost of compliance. But if you do for digitalization, you can recover all these costs by lowering the cost of processing. Better customer service. Now the customer can get your invoice error-free, right? And then they don't have to key in themselves. Automatically, the invoice will populate their accounting system, right? So there's no error. So, and reduce the paper consumption. I know some of you are already looking into ESG. This is one initiative, this one project that can help you to, contribute to your ESG work. In the nutshell, we think most businesses are better off engaging a PayPal service provider because they are knowledgeable, they have the experience, and they have ready solutions. You can choose this service provider based on their charging model. Some will charge you very minimum, the integration fees. Some they give you a freemium model until a certain, certain number of invoices, then only they start charging. Some charge you one-time cost. Well, depends on some can provide you additional service. For example, I don't want to do anything on my system. I just want my service provider to take care for me. Because, for example, I have a very complex approval cycle. I don't want to touch that. All I need to do is when I generate the invoice from my existing system, the service provider take care for me, help me to convert, help me to all this take care by the service provider. So you will choose the service provider that can help you to do so. So these are the various benefits and the way you choose your solutions, either my invoice portal or technical solution provider or PayPal solution provider. I hope this is helpful to help you to decide what to do next and find the right solutions for your e-invoicing need. So next slide. If you have further questions, scan this particular barcode. You can get in touch with MDEC or LHDN. You send questions to us as well. Thank you very much. Again, thank you, Compliance Malaysia, for having us here. I hope my sharings help the participant here to decide what to do next. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, Mr. Song. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much for joining and giving all these valuable insights, in particular talking about PayPal. So, thank you very much. And to all the participants, we have one more poll. So please do answer so that it will give us more knowledge and understanding how to help you all. So for our next lineup, we have Mr. Jeevan, Director for Compliance Malaysia, who is going to talk about lessons learned from Phase 1 implementation and how Phase 2 readiness for SMEs are. So over to you, Mr. Jeevan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabri. Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and all the viewers in the live telecast now. Mr. Tong Mr. Tong has covered extremely well. He actually spoke, in and out about the journey on digitalization, and I think he did rightly mention certain point, in the journey of digitalization, the data, the early preparation, and also to have a very clear communication among organization, your suppliers, your vendors, and within an organization, you exchange information and making sure the create an awareness of internal and external stakeholders is very essential. So these are some of our lesson learned from the phase one, where some of our clients started this journey way much earlier due to their business complexity, their challenges, where they have different offices globally, and also they have a presence in within Malaysia as well. So the major lesson is actually having early preparation, starting your journey earlier, definitely really helps a lot. And having a very good communication also, it really helps. In terms of technology gaps, our lesson from the phase one, a lot of companies actually struggle to actually invest in additional investment in order to get this tax compliance ready. And a lot of service solution out there, including us, we actually try our best to help a lot of companies to make it more affordable, and also it's user friendly. You need to have a very user friendly system on top of your entire legacy system. Yeah, so it's very important that you bridge that gaps. And as Mr. Song mentioned, this is not only about getting ready for e-invoice for LHDN, and you are getting those data to send across, but this is mainly how to make your business more efficient and automate areas where the data or the process can be seamless. Okay, that is very important. So technology gaps has to be addressed in the beginning stage, and look for a appropriate solution. We have helped our client where some of them prefer not a direct integration with ERP. Some prefer a direct integration. So what is the solution out there to avoid a direct integration? So we have actually helped, and with that experience, we can share more details if you are interested. And this is very collaborative effort, and you need to work across the team as well, right? So in terms of readiness for the next phase, which is 1st January 2025, it is very important that you need to have a scalable solution, where probably at this point of time you may look at the volume might be lesser, but as the volume increase, your transaction increase, then you have a lot of challenges on getting the system more scalable and more robust. Okay, so you need to get ready in those areas. Identify in beginning what's your volume and how that volume actually grows, and even those who are in the PayPal or in middleware solution, your customers will require you to come into that journey as well. And very important that you need to have tailor-made industry, templates. Every industry or every businesses are different and unique by itself, where you really need to solve your industry challenges and how you do the tax treatment, how those processes is required to streamline or change, and that has to be addressed. We at compliance, with our experience globally and also in the phase one, we already have a lot of templates for, say, for example, retailers, manufacturing, and so forth. We have a lot of those kind of templates ready. And each time when we have a new client on board, there is the adoption phase where we have to go through and understand their requirement and help them to get ready with those changes and so forth. So it's very important. It's not only about one solution and you adopt to use it. Yeah, it has to be tailor-made and customized. And another important aspect is actually the continuous support is very, very important, where the team constantly working on the R&D to make a lot of automation, a lot of AI capability where, manual process can be very much reduced. So when you try to automate, then that is where you can improve your error, and you can reduce those errors and unwanted challenges in your submission of e-invoicing. Okay, I think with that, the final word to get ready. Don't wait too late. You really have to start somewhere. Although the solution we are able to do it in less than 2 weeks, but there are a lot of other work is required to be done. Before you start to implement our solution, right? So the data aspect is extremely important as well, right? Okay, with that, without further ado, we have a very interesting quick video on our solution. We are more than happy if you have more time, you can stay back later at the end of the session to have more live demo. So can we have the demo, please? Hari, I think the audio is not playing.
Is it playing now?
Yep. I don't know. You try again. No, it's not. No, it's not. Can you share, unshare and share again, Hari?
The audio is not audible?
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it is not. Yeah.
Okay, let me reshare.
You can go live in weeks.
Yes.
Sounds awesome, right? With compliance, everything is possible. Track and validate sales invoices with ease. From submission to approval, stay on top of every transaction. Purchases tab for PayPal compliance. Make sure you receive and manage all supplier invoices in one place. Create self-billed invoices for suppliers who can't raise e-invoices and organize all self-billed invoices in a dedicated tab. Get started with onboarding quickly with flexible PayPal or non-PayPal compliance options. Fill in the data and get your company onboarded for LHDN compliance. Bulk upload invoices in a snap. Use our Excel template, upload invoice details, and let compliance handle the validations. Empower your customers to generate e-invoice via our customer portal even after their purchases. It's simple, secure, and hassle-free. At Compliance, we make e-invoicing effortless, from B2B to B2C and credit note to refund note. Streamline your e-invoicing process with our user-friendly platform. Start today and experience the difference.
Thank
Thank you very
Mr.
much
Jeevan.
for the solution demo, and thank you, Jeevan, for your insights and sharing with us the problems and your experiences in taking companies live in phase one. So we have another poll lined up on your screen. So please do answer to help us understand. There is one point I would like to highlight to you all from Mr. Song's webinar, that compliance is one of the very few companies in Malaysia which has both SP and PRSP accreditation. So we are a service provider and we are also a PEPAL ready solution provider. So we work with some of the major brands here in Malaysia, and our solutions cater to a wide range of spectrum from enterprise clients to SMEs. So to moving on to our webinar, we have a slide where we want to share with you some of the experience of one of our key clients who went live in phase one. So Mr. Hari, would you like to take this forward?
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
So we have the SMK Electronics Malaysia case study. So to give a brief background, SMK is a electronics manufacturer headquartered in Japan. So they have a subsidiary here in Malaysia, in Banan. So SMK was was targeted to go live in phase one. So we worked with SMK, and this is a brief. We have categorized the whole implementation into the key challenges that we face and the type of solution that we deliver and the results that is achieved, and currently where SMK is standing and what is the next action items, right? So there is a specific case here. SMK had a lot of overseas suppliers where where PEPAL was preferred for them. We actually suggested that PEPAL will be a good use case for especially for SMK, because they have a lot of local and then overseas cross-border transactions, right? So the main key challenges that I want to highlight here is we initially with phase one we had minor hiccups where SMK, where we try to register SMK on the My Invoice portal, or the PDF customizations that we had with respect to different type of documents. And then we had initial testing disruptions as well, because it's still no customer. I mean, still the LSTN server was also not live. We were testing on the development server or the test environment of the LSTN. So these were the key challenges, and how we tackled these challenges is, we came up with innovative solutions, especially with the testing, while testing where we faced unexpected errors. So for a long time, our strength has been to, have a very strong validation layer. Any invoice that goes through the compliance portal before it reaches the tax authority system, we 100% validate the invoice and ensure there are no errors. So we continue to build our, the validation layer based on the learnings from the unexpected errors, right? And we came up with a detailed step-by-step onboarding documentation, and we also started building custom templates where we after SNK, after we work with the other clients in phase one, we came up with templates that are common for most of the businesses. So this actually reduced our onboarding time from 4 weeks, which was in phase one, to almost 2 weeks now with with phase two, where we are doing it in 2 weeks. Right, and we are actually looking to reduce the onboarding time to, below 2 weeks as well, and probably by phase three we should have around a 1 to 2 week. Right. So the results achieved is already SMK is live with Malaysian compliance, that is the tax reporting part, and now SMK will be, they are currently in working on the PEPAL integration, and soon SMK will also be live in PEPAL with PEPAL. So SMK will be one of the first few companies to start and start receiving and sending invoices through the PEPAL system. So so that's what I had, Sabri. Over to you now.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is about one of our clients, SMK Electronics. Next, I would like to open the floor for any Q&A. If any of the participants have any questions, please do raise your, you can queue up, and we would be very happy to answer those questions. And in addition to that, we have our solution experts who are there in this call. Our admin team is also there in this call. So if you would like to see the solutions after this demo, please do reach out to them. You can ping in the chat box. They will assist you with and connect you with one of our solution engineers to share the detailed demo, and how we can give you the solutions for e-invoicing here. Yeah.
Alternately, I think we can also post questions in the Q&A section.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to share with you all also that there is some special discounts for today's MDEC compliance webinar participants. So, when you are going to go with compliance as your e-invoicing partner, for attending today's webinar, there are some special discounts. So please reach out to our team, and they'll guide you on the discounts also. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. And we really appreciate all your attendances. We will be sharing the recording of the webinar and also all the details. And in your screen, you can see the contact numbers and email addresses of our solution experts and our team. Please make a note of that and do reach out to us, and we will be very happy to share with you all. So I would like to take this opportunity once again to thank all our speakers today, especially Mr. Song and Ms. Puarni. And big thanks to you both for coming in and sharing and giving us all the insights. And we are very excited to see Malaysia's digital initiative under MDEC's guidance, and take this PEPAL to all the companies here. So one and all, thank you very much for joining today's webinar, and please reach out to us for any questions. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.
You all, thank you for joining. Thanks, Mr. Song.
Thank you. Signing off.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thanks, Gurney.
if there are any further questions or any demo requests in the Q&A or chat, I think the team can take it forward accordingly. I see a lot of chat and
Yeah.
there's a lot of chat volume. Hope we are tracking that.
If there is any questions for MDEC, I think you please send it to us so that we can also help to answer. Yeah.
Yes, sure,
Okay.
Mr. Song.
Thank
We
you.
will do that.
Thank you.
very much.
Bye.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you.
Maybe we can stop the recording, I think. The live.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. I think we can end the meeting for all.
Yeah. Can we connect back? Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. We're signing off.